guys, welcome to another video. I'm filming outside today because it's kind of coming to a sunset and I thought the lighting's kind of cute. So yeah, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would be so grateful if you could hit that subscribe button for me and join my channel, a place where I talk all about sort of moving from London, coming to Bali, my life out here in Bali, starting a sustainable clothing brand, and all the little tools and tricks and things that I picked up along the way to help me live the best life ever. Today I want to talk about how I started my sustainable clothing brand out here in Bali, TB Darling Designs. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'll leave a link in bio, and I'm wearing a dress from my brand today, if you can see. I have 3 collections, and the dresses, I have 4 dresses available, and they're all very different to represent different type of women out there, because my brand is all about female empowerment, inclusivity, and also sustainability and being good to our Mother Earth. So how it all actually started, I think around sort of like December 2019, I just had this feeling that I should move to Bali and start a clothing brand. Don't even ask me like how or why. I just feel like it just came to me, and I felt it was a very spiritual kind of guided calling that it was very difficult for me to ignore. So what I did, I booked myself a one-way ticket to Bali. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and do this. So I moved to Baraba and I started the process. I found the first manufacturer, which was kind of like all in-house manufacturing. They would do pretty much everything for me, and I just had to sit in meetings and approve things. So we started on samples. I had 3 sort of like corrections in case I wasn't happy with anything or with the way that they did things, and I've like supplied different sort of fabrics for me to look from. So I didn't really even have to go to one fabric store. They had everything from labels to fabric selection to sort of in-house design team. So everything was done in-house, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy, because I didn't even know what a pattern was when I started doing this job. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna learn as I go. It can't be that hard. So when they started the process, it took about, they said 2 weeks for samples. It took about 8 weeks, and I was like, what? Finished my samples. I was really like unhappy with this service by the end of it. They would just literally not reply to me. They'll go like, they just like go super quiet. I was like, what is going on, you guys? These are not cheap samples. By the end of it, I just kind of gave up, and I was like, okay, maybe this branding thing is not meant to be. I don't even know what to do, where to start. I need to get patterns, I need to get this, and I need to get that. At least by that point, I kind of had already, like, I had selected my fabric and I had my designs in place. The place that I did my samples at, they refused to give me my patterns unless I went into production with them. But judging by my first experience for the sample production, I wasn't really excited to go ahead into the production with them, so I said no. Then a friend of a friend recommended this little sustainable manufacturer, also out here in Bali, and then I met up with them and we started the whole process. And it was actually really exciting in the beginning, because this lady that I was working with was fully like committed. She was so communicative. Like, she would literally tell me what I like missed out on, and she would like supply all of my packaging as well, all of my labels. We had like so many meetings back and forth, and we were just like literally discussing everything in so much detail. So I was really excited for that process with her. However, when we came to production and I paid the deposit 50%, and we had like our first campaign shoot booked, there was no bloody clothes. I was like, what is going on out here, guys? Like, where's my clothes? And she was like, oh, I'm on the way, I'm like 10 minutes away. Like, and literally she was just not on the way at all. So I was like freaking out, and that was like my first massive red flag, because like when we started working together, I said, please, whatever you do, just don't lie to me, and then just tell me as it is, and then like we'll be able to kind of like come up with a plan and overcome whatever issues. However, like, there were so many lies that I, like, by the end of it, I just couldn't even like deal, honestly. Second thing is, like, my fabric is like very soft cotton. Its textures is like double bubble, and you're not meant to iron this fabric. You're just meant to like let it dry out when you wash, or you're meant to steam it. However, they legit ironed all of like the pants that I produced with them, so I had to like get rid of the entire batch of pants that they produced for me. So there were so many issues. And then they didn't want to release the second half of the production until I paid, and I wasn't happy to pay until I checked my production, and they wouldn't let me check the production. They were like, oh, we already have a team checking this and doing that. But by that point I was already like 2 months delayed, you know, because they said to me initially, this was like sort of like around April, so we can just go into the production straight away. I have the fabric, so we waited for the fabrics to color and stuff like that, and they were like, okay, we're gonna go into the production. So then they said 4 weeks for the production, and then by the end of the 8th week I only had 50% of the production, and then they wouldn't like let me see the other 50% until before I paid. So I was like, can I come and see this production, and then I'll pay you literally on the spot, because I've paid you everything so far, so I don't even understand why you doubting that I wouldn't pay you, because like that's not the experience you had with me before. So I was really confused about what just happened there, and the energy just changed. It kind of became really threatening towards me, and they were saying like, oh, we're gonna send bailers. I was like, I don't understand what you're going to send bailers for, because I already paid for what you gave me, and I will pay for the rest, but you need to show it to me first. I'm not going to just hand over like, you know, quite a bit of money. So especially as you like lied to me so much and fucked up my first part of production. I'm like, what? I'm pretty sure like you have to like check and like have things in place before, especially if you're on the ground. Like, what? Anyways, I was like, okay, well, you keep the clothes, and I don't know what she did with it, but I will just figure things out. And by that point I already launched my website, and I didn't have 50% of the stocks. I couldn't fully go into marketing, I couldn't really do anything, and it was already June, so I kind of missed the first summer, and then that massively sent me back. But that's okay, because it really allowed me enough time to learn. I think when you're starting out, like there's so many like feeding issues and mistakes that unless you really have that time to like learn and put the strategy in place and strong foundation, it gets a little bit messy, I shall say. Because even like big brands, like honestly like amazing brands that have like in-house teams, get like fucked with production. So I was like, I have to take things in my own fucking hands. I can't let this to happen anymore. Especially it's like when I leave Bali, like I need to be able to fully trust people I work with. So I sat down with myself and was like, okay, let me, like I said to my guides, please take me to where I need to go to find somebody who can make this happen for me. And then legit, I stumbled upon this little Balinese tailor family that work for a couple of really high-end brands out here in Bali. They're really boutique resort wear and like quite expensive high-end brands in this market. So I was so lucky and grateful to be guided to them. And then by that point I already knew where to get my fabrics from, so I went and purchased my fabrics. But when I went to purchase my fabric, this massive brand from Australia already purchased the entire fabric stock on this island, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck do I do now? Like I don't even have fabric, like, and I don't have 50% of my production. So I was like, why am I being tested so much? Is this even meant to be for me? Shall I continue with this brand? And I was like, oh my god. So I was like, okay, let's do a research. So the son of the family, Ferdy, his name is, he was helping me so much in the beginning, because now he has a job. He was working for me a little bit, and he would we would go to every single fabric store out here on the island, and we would search everywhere. By the end of it, we had to order some from another island here in Indonesia, and we somehow managed to source the fabric, and then the family started producing everything for me. And from there, then we went into the collection 2 and collection 3, and everything started running so smoothly. Now I have such a great relationship with them. We produce mostly on demand, or we do like such small batches, so I don't really have to go through the whole process of waiting like another 4 to 8 weeks for them to produce like mocks of like 30 per style, because that's not even a lot. That's like a small production, 30 per style, but they can't even manage that. So that wasn't really like encouraging to me. So in the meantime, I also found a fashion designer from Jakarta, and then we made all of the patterns that I have digitalized, so I can I have PDFs of my patterns, and I can take them into any print shop in the world, and I can print big A3 sizes off them and then make my clothes that way. Secondly, I've done all my tech packs professionally, because before I didn't like, you should have seen the tech packs before that they were giving me. It was like these little scriptures on the piece of paper. Honestly, like, I do love Bali, is extremely creative, but like unless you go to a big manufacturer that like produces for all these like big labels and Australian brands, you don't really get that much professionalism. And people out here know like, they just say yes to everything, but whether that happens or not, that's another story. So confrontation is not a massive thing out here. So there's no like, if I say, oh, can this be done by like Tuesday, let's say, she's like, oh yeah, of course. And then the Tuesday comes, they're like, where is it? And I'm like, there was a ceremony, there was this and there was that. So there isn't so much of like reliability in most cases. I'm so grateful right now that I have a family that I work with that I can fully 100% rely on, and they literally do everything for me. And I've been working with them for a whole year now, and I fully trust them. And in the meantime, I've also found different manufacturers in case I have bigger orders from buyers, for example, and then I can go into factories and stuff. But I have my patterns on the go, so I can even produce in Europe if I need to now. And that was like a massive lesson that I had to learn, is like not to rely on one factory or one manufacturer or on one consultant, because people do tend to say things just to like, because they think you want to hear that, instead of giving you like the real story and like what you need to do and like the timeline and exact dates. So that was a big problem for me, but luckily my intuition led me to correct people, and I like did everything exactly as I need to do. And even now, if I leave Bali, I have like my supply chain so strongly placed that I can legit, just like we have this app out here called Gojek, which is basically like Uber out in Asia, but it's so much better because you can go send things like, so I can like just put it into an app, and for £1 I can like deliver my fabric to the colorist, and then they can color, and then I can send it to my tailor, and then my tailor can send it to my shipping place. So I don't even need to be present right here, because I have made everything like so simplified. My supply chain is so flat. I only have a few people that I work out here, and I also recently have hired an intern, Pauline, and she's from Germany, and she's been helping me so much with everything. So together we are also launching a creative digital agency, and we're looking for a few clients now that we can manage and help them with all sorts of like social media, digital marketing strategies, and content creation and influencer marketing, because we've been doing this for like a full year now for my brand, and we've like learned so much from like working with influencers and getting your name out there and getting your brand out there, generating sales and also like paid ads and all that stuff. So it has been such a tremendous year in terms of like learning things and understanding fashion business and how things are done. And I was putting so much pressure on myself to create even more collections, but then I was like, you know what, this is my first year, probably can cancel the first year altogether, because it was a pandemic, so nobody was even like buying resort wear because resorts are closed. So let's go into the second year and with the same collection, and then maybe I'm going to add a couple of pieces extra. Like I'm thinking to add a couple of unisex pieces, so then I can cater to like the male market too, and it'll be sustainable because I only use natural fabrics that are not massively overused on the market as well, and everything's like done in small batches on demand mostly as well, with like a tiny little atelier by Balinese family that does all that stuff for me. So I am extremely grateful, you guys. I'm going to leave the links down below, and if you would like to treat yourself to anything from TB Darling, you can use my code Tania20 to get 20% discount. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be covering a little bit more about having this brand and how, like, going into more details. If there's any specifics you would like to learn from me, please leave me a comment below and I'll check it out. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.